Why is no one talking about how incredible Nepal is? It's quickly become one of my favorite countries in Asia. Hi, I'm Erin and I'm on a 150-day world trip with my husband and we are right now spending a month in Nepal. On day 64 of our trip, we took a flight from Kathmandu to Pokhara to start our 4-day trek in the Himalayas. Our guide Chandra picked us up and brought us to his home outside of Pokhara for the night, which was so lovely. And then the next morning, we hopped in a jeep to drive to the starting point of our trek. We got our first views of the Annapurna mountain range, which is home to some of the tallest mountains in the world. And then our trek started with a warm welcome from these mules. On day 1, we walked for about 4 hours, which wasn't too bad except that a lot of it was uphill, but we stopped at a tea house for a long lunch halfway through. Tea houses like this are all along the trekking trails and they typically offer food, lodging, showers, and Wi-Fi. Right when the altitude was starting to slow us down, we arrived in the village of Gorapani. We checked into our tea house, which was super comfy and took in the views of the Annapurna range. Honestly, these videos do not do the mountains justice. Seeing them in person truly blew my mind. Now, at this altitude, no matter what, you are going to be cold because the buildings are not super insulated. I wore literally every piece of clothing I had with me to bed and we slept under 3 duvets. We were pretty exhausted from the day, can you tell? So we warmed up with tea by the fire and then ate some pizzas before passing out, because the next morning we had a 5 a.m. wake-up call to hike to a viewpoint. Hit follow to see where we trekked to on day 2 in the Nepalese Himalayas. I struggle to wake up for my 9 a.m. workday when I'm home in Toronto, but waking up at 5 a.m. to hike in the dark to a viewpoint in the Nepalese Himalayas, no problem. Hi, I'm Erin and I'm on a 150-day world trip with my husband. And on day 66 of our trip, we hiked to the top of Poon Hill for sunrise. At 3,200 meters, I think I was feeling the altitude a bit because I was fighting for my life climbing up this mountain. But it was worth it because at the summit, we had incredible views of the Annapurna mountain range, which has some of the world's tallest mountains. This cup of tea at the top was the best tea of my life. After sunrise, we hiked back down and got back to our lodge to eat breakfast before setting out again to hike several hours to our next tea house. The joke in Nepal is when you're trekking, you're always going a little bit up or a little bit down. A little bit is an understatement because the going up and going down is so hard. And honestly, going down is worse because it kills your knees. Because of this, trekking poles are essential. You can buy or rent them in Kathmandu or Pokhara. Along the way, we stopped for tea several times. Nepalese milk tea is usually made with buffalo milk, and so it's so delicious. We probably drink like 8 teas a day. Honestly, when you're trekking, you're just surviving off milk tea and dal bhat. While trekking, we came across these guys who are building a new bridge, and also lots of mules transporting the luggage of other trekkers. And finally, after nearly 8 hours, we made it to our tea house for the night. It had this incredible view, but we were so tired, so we had a shower, dinner, and then passed out. Hit follow to see what day 3 of our trek in Nepal was like. The joke in Nepal is that any mountain less than 8,000 meters is just a hill. Well, let me tell you, on day 3 of our Poon Hill Trek, going up and down the hill started to catch up with us. Hi, I'm Erin and I'm on a 150-day world trip with my partner Luke, and we spent 4 days trekking in the Nepalese Himalayas. On day 3 of our trek, we decided to have a more relaxed day, and so we only trekked for about 4 hours. The nice thing about trekking in Nepal is that you can easily adjust your plans based on how you're feeling. There are tea houses all along the trekking routes, and so there's always somewhere that you can rest for the night. Along our trek, we came across this poor buffalo who was terrified to cross this bridge. Our guide Chandra laughed and said they will be stuck there all day trying to help her cross. You see buffalo often when you're trekking. Nepalese milk tea is made from buffalo milk, and you can get buff momos on basically all menus. It's definitely worth trying while in Nepal. We stopped for a nice long lunch where we took care of my massive blister, and Luke tested out carrying the load of a porter who came by. Nepalese porters are truly superhuman. It's unbelievable to us the loads that they are able to carry. In the late afternoon, we made our way to Jinnu Danda for the night. As we hiked down to the village, we could see a storm rolling in over the Annapurna range, and it reached us right as we checked into our tea house. We had another chill evening just chatting with Chandra. He showed us the Nepalese alphabet and then passed out by 9 p.m. On day 67 of our world trip, we woke up to this view in the Himalayas of Nepal. The view of the mountains here never gets old. It's just so mind-blowing how huge they are. Hi, I'm Erin and I'm on a 150-day world trip with my husband Luke, and this was the last day of our 4-day Poon Hill Trek in Nepal. We had breakfast in our tea house and hung out with this adorable mountain dog before setting out for a final few hours of trekking. The trek started with crossing what our guide Chandra calls the 5-minute bridge. It's so long, it literally takes 5 minutes to walk across. This bridge is used for transporting goods, and if there are mules crossing, you do need to wait to go across. After we had crossed the bridge, we happened to see this huge group of mules walking. We had to go under the bridge while they were crossing it, and guys, one of the mules pooped and it hit me in the head. Don't worry, I was wearing a hat. Something we really loved about our trek is that every day the terrain and landscapes are different. On day 4, we hiked along a river through a valley, passing through villages. I think a lot of people trek in Nepal to see the mountains, which is obviously a highlight, but something we have loved is how when you trek, you also get to see what life in the mountains is like. After a couple hours of walking, we finally made it to the endpoint of our trek, Landrick. We had lunch and then a jeep picked us up for a bumpy ride back to Pokhara, where we checked into a nice little hotel for showers and a long sleep. Doing the Poon Hill Trek in Nepal was truly a dream come true, and we had a really amazing experience doing our trek with friendly trekkers. It's a family-run and Nepalese-owned trekking company that offers guided treks all over the country, and they also have a homestay that you can visit near Pokhara. I highly recommend them, and if you have any questions about our trekking experience, feel free to comment below.